Welcome to episode number 134 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We're recording live on YouTube on March 13, 2016. This week, our stories include Gross goes viral, Kellogg employee goes rogue, a lynching photo as table decor, NFL on Facebook, Google+ developments, artificial intelligence gets more intelligent, the Internet of Things goes underground, literally, and then we got some cool tools, podcasting stats, and lots more to talk about this week. We always start off with the worst, and BL always has the honors of kicking off with the worst. What was the worst story of the week, BL?
Definitely, the worst story of the week was that pimple popping has gone viral on YouTube. And this is from a Daily Mail story by Erica Tempesta. And there's a dermatologist, Dr. Sandra Lee, and she's known as Dr. Pimple Popper. And she has nearly 1 million YouTube subscribers who watch her videos, which can only be described as gruesome. She's popping blackheads and cysts and they like to watch her remove all these, and she says they watch because it's relaxing and satisfying and joyful. Ugh.
Yeah, those videos were the talk of the office. We do a lot of work in the dental industry, so there was a lot of chatter about the videos around the office this week. I didn't seek them out.
Me either.
I really have no interest in watching them whatsoever. It's kind of stunning that a lot of people do have that interest. So,
but then again, people watch unboxing. This is they're a little way beyond unboxing, though. Okay, you want me to do another horrible one?
Please do.
Last week we were all Facebook. This week we're all disgusting bodily fluids. Another thing that went viral this week was and this is inexplicable because this actually was from 2014, but for some reason it went viral this week, and it's a video of a worker on a Kellogg cereal assembly line peeing into the conveyor belt, and so Kellogg's, of course, had to make a statement, and they said it was recorded at their Memphis, Tennessee facility in 2014, and then they released a statement, of course, and it said, "Oh, we take this very seriously, and we're shocked, and we deeply disappointed. We just learned about it today. Hello, it happened 2 years ago." And so we immediately alerted law enforcement authorities and regulators. A criminal investigation is underway. This is the gross part. We have confirmed that the products that could have been potentially affected were Rice Krispie Treats, Rice Krispie Treats cereal, and puffed rice cake products. Okay.
Yeah, what do you do? They did exactly what they needed to do when they found out about it. And,
why did it take 2 years to find out about it, though?
Well, how do they know? There's a huge company that if the video just started going viral, or maybe it was just uploaded, I don't know.
Then that's possible. But you sort of never know. Like sometimes things have been around a while, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're never quite sure what that is. But boom, there you go. And that's what happened to them. So I believe you have a food-related one for us.
Yeah, this is close to home. It happened in Minnesota and absolutely stunning. So there's a restaurant in Minnesota called Joe's Crab Shack. This is from a KARE 11 story. A local television station reported on this first, I believe. So they are located in Roseville, Minnesota, which is a suburb of St. Paul. And there are some diners who went to Joe's Crab Shack and sat down for a celebratory birthday dinner, and were shocked to see a photo of a lynching of 2 black men that was embedded beneath sort of the clear plexiglass top of their table as decor. It was sort of this vintage photo. It was in Groesbeck, Texas on April 12th, 1895. The diners' names were Tyrone Williams and Chantil Allen. They noticed the photo as they sat down to eat for Allen's birthday. And when I first saw the headline, I was like, I just saw the headline, so I assumed it was a case of sort of an employee searching for a vintage-looking photo without actually examining the content of it and realizing that it was what it was. But not only did the photo depict the lynching, someone had actually photoshopped a thought bubble into the photo above the victim's head that said, all I said was, I didn't like the gumbo. So it was used to make a joke. Clearly, if you went to that extent to do it, you had to examine the content of the photo so you knew what it was about. You're making a comment on a lynching and making a joke out of it. So that obviously shocked the diners. They took a photo of it, of course, and posted their Facebook page. As of today, has been 3,800 shares of that Facebook post. It has been picked up by local and national media, 388 media mentions of it. If you search for Joe's Crab Shack on Google, there's a huge news block that shows all the stories that are covering this incident. It used Google Suggest and search for Joe's Crab Shack, and among the suggestions are Joe's Crab Shack lynching. So Google is obviously seeing that there's a peak in interest in that, and people are searching for that. People complained about it on Joe's Crab Shack's Facebook page. It trended on Twitter, so much so that it became a Twitter moment. That Twitter packaged it into a moment. You know, it was deliberate. There's no other way to.
The woman whose birthday they were celebrating happens to be a Black Studies major. And,
yep,
you know,
yep,
and
they're
they got
connected
the NAACP involved in it as well. And they are, you know, standing with the diners. I mean, that's hideous.
Yeah, and they're connected to one of the major local NAACP figures in Minnesota. So, you know, just ridiculous. I've been there several times, not going back.
No, I wouldn't want to go back there. So I have one more food one. This is from Out to Lunch from Amy Core, and this is an ad from a supermarket in the UK, and it inexplicably to me, it's just basically 60 seconds of screaming newborn babies, and they try to make it like coordinate the screaming, the crying, so that it sounds like La Vie en Rose. And then at the end, it says something about shopping at this supermarket. I'm sorry, but 60 seconds of screaming babies just doesn't make me want to eat.
Muzak?
Yeah, right.
Or screaming babies. You know what? I think I'll take the
Muzak. Does that bring us to better news?
It does indeed, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
I think this is a huge story. This is another Google experiment or Google project. Their DeepMind project AlphaGo has mastered the game Go. This is from a NextWeb article by Matthew Hussey and a Verge article by Sam Byford. So Google DeepMind has created a program to play Go. It's an ancient game. It's considered infinitely more complex and sophisticated than chess. I never heard of it until the story came about, but apparently it's a game you play, two players play it. They take turns putting black and white stones on a 19 by 19 grid, and the winner surrounds more territory than their opponent. The skill you need for Go requires an ability to deal with abstract strategic concepts. With chess, you have an average of around 20 possible moves for a given position, but Go gives the player about 10 times as many options, so that it's, you know, vastly more complex. And in artificial intelligence, programmers consider game playing the perfect thing for computers to do to demonstrate their ability at artificial intelligence, or their sophistication at artificial intelligence. So AlphaGo, Google's program, has already won 3 of the 5 games against the world's greatest Go player, only losing yesterday to South Korea's Lee Si-do, I think is how you pronounce the name. Until just 5 months ago, computer mastery of Go, which has been played for more than 3,000 years by humans, was thought to be at least a decade off.
Whoa.
And so the computer's ability to play games has become a crucial measure of how far AI has come. As I said, the program initially learned to play Go by being fed data from historical real-world matches, but then it trained itself by playing thousands of matches against itself and then continually reinforcing its ability. So it's taught itself how to go from an amateur player to a world champion in less than a year. So this is a huge story in terms of how far off artificial intelligence is from becoming
Really intelligent.
really intelligent. Yeah.
Wow, I love that story, though. I mean, that's on the one hand frightening, and on the other hand fascinating, because
That's much of the comments that people are saying about it. It's
yeah, wow,
frightening
look
and
out.
fascinating. Yeah.
So, speaking of fascinating, Facebook is apparently in talks to stream the NFL's Thursday night football games, which would certainly be a widespread reason for much more cord cutting. And if they're going to do that, then that means it's a watershed moment for TV, and the companies are, in deep trouble, because the NFL could use its deep pockets to help push up the bidding for its Thursday games, and it's only a matter of time before there's more on Facebook in sports or whatever else. I mean, there will be no reason to have cable when you can watch football on Facebook, right, Dave?
Well, it is a huge draw of having cable as for us football fans to actually watch football. So that's a big reason for paying for cable. But also, I mean, it's the trend towards original programming and gaining original programming for your channel. You're seeing it. You started out with the Netflix, and then Hulu and Amazon, and now you're seeing it in other channels as well. With Facebook negotiating for the rights to the NFL football games, Yahoo as well is negotiating for the rights to live stream NHL hockey games.
Oh, wow.
So that's, the two trends coming together in this story there.
So you want to give us one of yours?
Sure will. Internet of Things meets agriculture. This is from an Ag Professional article by Chris Bennett. There's a company called Sensing Earth Environment Directly, which is one of those made up names for a company so that you can use it in an acronym. The acronym is SEED. So the company SEED has developed a sensor that farmers can drop into the ground and get readings from the soil. So in agriculture, there's all kinds of conditions in the soil that farmers need to pay attention to maximize their yields. Among them are of course rainfall and things that you normally think of, but also nutrients in the soil that feed the plants, and they have to manage those nutrients, and the nutrients vary within a given field and from region to region, and so it's a very important thing they need to pay attention to. So these sensors will read the nutrients of the soil. So the soil sensors are biodegradable. They're composed of crop residue. Residue is the things that are left over after you harvest the crop. So it's the stalks, the husks from seed pods, and so forth. They're in the shape of tiny spheres between the size of a soybean seed and a ping pong ball. They require no maintenance on behalf of the farmers. They have no batteries. They last 2 years. They use RFID to move and transmit data. So the sensor's substrate material is composed of corn-based plastic and flax fiber reinforcement, and allows for electrical conductivity paths. It's basically circuitry on corn. And it's biodegradable as well. It'll just biodegrade into the soil, but it transmits data from literally underground to the farmer so they can understand what their soil conditions are like. It's pretty amazing.
Is it solar powered?
That's what I was trying to get at from the article, and I couldn't figure out exactly how what powers it, but it's got RFID technology built into it, so that's how it transmits it. But yeah, I didn't fully understand how it was powered.
You could sort of see how other things would happen with that kind of technology as well. But do you know what the company is? Just this one company that developed it? Or this is a widespread technology?
This is the soil sensing technologies elsewhere. This is one. This story was about this one company's technology, but it appeared that there's. I mean, there are more technologies that sense what's in the soil.
I'd like to read that article. That sounds really like an interesting one. So something that happened this week, Google is apparently in their way, their very weird way. There's an article in Mashable by Seth Fiegerman and in many other places as well, but Google had a high-profile hire this week, and what they did was they hired the founder of 4chan, and they brought him in to revive Chris Poole. They brought him in to revive Google+. And he was in high school when he created 4chan, and he single-handedly built it into 20 million monthly users. He said, I never worked for anyone before, but I'd like to. And he said, you know, he was wondering before he got this job if anybody might benefit from his decade of experience. So we're about to find out. And back in 2008, I met him at a conference, and he was, you know, he was so young, and he was telling me, like, 4chan, that's a site that, you know, we have this huge following, and we have like this enormous active community, and there's no brand that knows anything about it. So I have a link to my blog post about it, but, you know, I thought, like, this guy's going somewhere someday, and here he is.
What is he going to be doing at Google?
Who knows? It's Google. They're not going to explain it.
I don't get it. I mean, I don't
he's going to be in charge of Google+.
Right, but so
whatever that means.
What does that mean? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, we don't know. But I will say I have great admiration for Google.org, which is their philanthropic arm. And on International Women's Day, they had a quite extraordinary campaign where they had all these young women all over the world, and the hashtag was One Day I Will, and there were all these girls just saying, you know, one day I will be a lawyer, one day I will be a doctor, one day I will change the world. And, you know, just that was in the Google Doodle on that day. It was its own landing page, and it was just a wonderful thing to see.
It's very cool. Well, one day is the future. I got a story about the past, and it was trending last week. The Fine Brothers. If you haven't been following the Fine Brothers, you should. They make the amazing. There's some of the most popular, one of the most popular channels on YouTube. But they make these react videos. So they have kids react to something. They have old people react to something. And for this one, they had teens reacting to Windows 95. So Windows 95, of course, is celebrating celebrated last year its 20th anniversary. And so they had teens sitting in front of a Windows 95. They unveiled a PC from 1985 by pulling a cloth off it, and the kids were reacting to, oh my God, there's this huge cathode ray tube computer with this huge monitor that's not flat screen or anything from 1985, this huge monitor, and then asked them to turn on the computer, and they tried to turn on the computer by pressing the monitor power button. Of course, in those days, it was a desktop. There are two pieces of the computer, the monitor and the computer. So they finally figured that out, turned it on. You could hear the whirring sounds of the computer starting up. Saw them waiting for the boot screen, the DOS boot screen to flow by without the BIOS screen to do its thing. And then finally, they're waiting. Finally, they get to the Windows 95 OS screen. And one of the comments, one of the kids said, well, everything looks so dull and ancient. And they tried to go online, but the internet wouldn't work because there's no Wi-Fi. And they're, what? No Wi-Fi? How do you get online? They had to explain how dial-up access worked and what modems were. And before Windows 95, they had to explain that there was DOS, disk operating system. They actually had to type in computer code into the computer to use the computer. And then they went through the shutdown process and came up to the screen that says, it's now safe to turn off their computer. And they're freaking out by that. Like, what? It kind of freaks me out. Was it not safe before to turn it off? It's just very cute, very funny. But these kids who had never seen Windows 95 because they weren't born yet.
I like the one also where they showed them an old-fashioned telephone, and many of them, they did it with kids, like I think they were second graders or something. They'd never seen anything like that. Like, what is that
Yep.
thing?
Yep.
Those videos are great. But I remember when I got my first computer, I had my first database. I forget what it was called, Metafile, and they made you go to like the backwoods of Pennsylvania, stay in a motel for 3 days to learn how to use this software. But someone came to your office and put a lock on the back of your computer. I'm like, what is that for? That's so you can't steal our software. Right. It took 3 days to learn that. I really would never understand this software. But anyway, and talking about Google Plus being back, now it's called Google+Create, and you have to apply, which is basically how they should have marketed it to begin with. They should have made it something that, you know, you had a reason to join rather than forcing everybody to join it. So theoretically now, if you've done what they told you to do a couple of months ago, which is have collections, which some people did, then you'll be invited to this new thing. So, you know, we both applied. We'll see what they've done. But of course, there's no explanation because it's Google, and Google sucks at explaining what they're doing. And it's, you know, it looks interesting, but who knows? And maybe it's an experiment, and maybe it won't be here next month, or maybe it will.
Yeah, we will find out.
Yeah, right. I mean,
We
or
won't.
not, or not. I mean, maybe they'll never say anything about it again because it's Google. So, you have another one for us?
I'm done with my good stuff.
Oh, well, this one that I love. This is Japan's most viral teenager. This is from a BuzzFeed story by Ryan Broderick. And this is a 19-year-old Japanese Viner, and she's inspiring young girls all over Japan to make these cool videos. She said she has 673,000 followers and 676 million loops. And she just does ordinary kid stuff. She makes faces, she makes popping sounds with her mouth. But, you know, girls just weren't making videos. They weren't using Vine. And so she's slowly subverting the typical way that women can achieve stardom in Japan and be much more visible. And young girls are starting to take her lead. So I just really love that story.
Very cool.
That brings us to apps, no?
It does indeed. So this political season, we need an archive of political advertising. This is from a Neiman Lab story by Joseph Lichterman, and he talks about the Internet Archive, which is creating a searchable archive of political ads through the 2016 primary season. That includes broadcast details, so you can get air counts, markets there that an ad was aired in, networks it aired on, first aired and last aired dates, and that's at politicalarchive.org. So
only U.S.
do some. I'm sorry?
Is that only U.S. political
I believe
ads?
so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, when we move to Canada, we won't have to go through the political advertising for their campaigns because they don't have any. We haven't even gotten that far, and it's already insane. So they had one of the best Google Doodles this week that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm a big fan of the theremin, and Clara Rockmore was one of the greatest theremin players in the history of the world. And if you don't know what a theremin is, it's the instrument that you hover over it with your hand, and it's the thing that goes woo in science fiction. Only Clara Rockmore made it into a classical music instrument. She played with jazz bands, she played with the Philharmonic, and so they lead to all this information and videos about her, and you had the chance to duplicate sounds that were being made in this doodle. It's just wonderful.
That's very clever. Yeah. That's very clever. Facebook and WordPress are working together to develop, or have worked together to develop, an instant articles plugin for WordPress. So it creates a specialized RSS feed that automatically allows you to automatically publish instant articles. Of course, in April, Facebook is going to be opening up instant articles to all publishers. So this will make it easy for people using WordPress to publish instant articles. It's open source, and they're hoping developers will improve it. You can get it now at GitHub, so we'll include a link to that in the show notes. But that's, you know, there you go.
So I'm a big 3D printing fan, and you know, most of what's really fascinating about 3D printing is like heart valves and things like that. But I came across a video of how to 3D print armor for your cat. And so the guy is asking for people to submit videos of their own versions of cat armor, and the cat, I mean, if I ever tried to do this to my cat, he would probably bite my arm off. But, you know, the cat is wearing armor, and he's saying, like, he hasn't quite figured out how to make a helmet for the cat. So he's asking people to submit their designs for helmets and their videos, and then I guess they'll have a contest for the best cat helmet.
Well, you'll need some designs for some human armor before you try and print some cat armor so that you don't get bitten.
Exactly. I think that brings us to your stats.
Or you got a project you want to talk about?
Oh, I do. I've been working with a New York probate lawyer whose name is Daniel Antonelli, and we launched his first video blog post. And it's how to know if you're in the will. It's just 2 minutes, and you know, it tells you how to find out whether, if your rich aunt just died, how to find out if you're in the will. So it's a good thing to know, guys. You know.
Well, yeah, useful skill. So yeah, the daily numbers. More than 1 in 5 Americans listen to podcasts now. This is from Edison Research. You'll remember we reported last year on stats that Edison Research released, and they looks like they do this annually, annual report on podcasting, and so 1 in 5 Americans, a percentage of Americans 12 plus who said they have listened to a podcast in the last month is now up to 21%, is now at 21%, up from 17 last year. That's estimated 57 million people. In 2008, for example, the first year for which they've got data, 9% of Americans were listening to podcasts. So the audience is growing, and this is before whenever Google Play opens up to podcasts. That should open up the audience enormously. And then I keep saying Amazon has got to let podcasters into their system too, because they could overnight become a huge distribution channel for podcasts.
Really huge. And that is a good time to point out that we are on iTunes and Stitcher, and you can download our podcast and listen to it at your leisure. And you will find us online. We are BeyondSocialMediaShow.com, Beyond Social Media Show on YouTube and Twitter. You can find David at eStrategyBlog.com, and he also blogs at his company blog, which is, his company is Kurowski and Courage. I love that name. And the blog is CreativePR.com, and it's a really extraordinary newsletter that you really should get. And subscribe to our newsletter, which you can do at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/newsletter. And subscribers to our show get the big book of Shiny New Objects, which is the best of the shiny new objects that we covered in the last quarter. And you won't get those unless you subscribe. I am BL Ochman. You'll find me on Twitter. I am at What's Next. My blog is what'snextblog.com. I'm also the proprietress of pawfun.com and maximum-plus.com, where you can hire me for all things video related and live streaming events. And have I missed anything, Dave?
You're right for Ad Age. Don't forget that.
I'm right for Ad Age. I haven't done that in a while. It's time for me to do that. And we will be back next week, same time, same station. And we thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.